Rain hammered against the glass walls of the Sterling family mansion. Lightning slicing through the sky like nature itself was furious. Inside, chaos had already erupted. The marble floors trembled as security guards stormed through the grand hall, shouting orders. The patriarch, Richard Sterling, stood at the foot of the winding staircase, his face pale, his fists clenched. Upstairs, the sound of a door slamming echoed like a gunshot. Somewhere deep in the house, a woman screamed. It wasn't just an ordinary night. It felt like the entire mansion was seconds away from detonating. Welcome to Black Voice Stories. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch rich family drama. Hours earlier, the new maid, Alina, had arrived for her first day. She'd been warned, the Sterlings are complicated. Keep your head down, do your job, and whatever you do, don't go near the West Wing. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. The first time she entered the main hall, she could feel the tension, servants whispering, guards pacing with radios crackling, a young boy's laughter echoing from somewhere upstairs. Except, she had been told the Sterling's only son, 8-year-old Nathan, was blind. His laughter sounded too playful, too aware. By dinner, the mansion felt like a pressure cooker. Richard sat at the head of the long mahogany table, his icy blue eyes scanning the room. His wife, Evelyn, sipped her wine in silence, her knuckles white against the glass. Nathan sat quietly, head tilted toward the sound of the maid bringing out food. When Alina accidentally dropped a silver fork, Nathan's head snapped toward the noise faster than anyone else at the table. The room froze as Richard's hand slammed against the table so hard that the chandelier above rattled. Before we dive in deeply, let us know in the comments what country or which city you're watching this story from. We'd love to know how far this story travels. Alina's heart pounded as she scrambled to pick up the fork. Richard's glare burned into her, but she couldn't shake the image of Nathan reacting like a boy who could see. Later that night, when most of the staff had retreated to their quarters, Alina heard a noise coming from the West Wing. Against every rule, she crept down the hall, her footsteps light against the Persian rug. She found a door slightly ajar and peeked inside. What she saw made her gasp. Nathan standing in front of a mirror, his eyes wide open, following his own reflection. Before she could react, a hand grabbed her from behind and yanked her into the darkness. A deep voice hissed in her ear, "You weren't supposed to see that." Alina struggled against the grip, but the man's hand was like iron over her mouth. He dragged her down the hallway and into a storage room, slamming the door behind them. The single overhead bulb flickered, throwing long shadows across his face. It was one of the Sterling security guards, Andre, the head of the household's private protection team. "You didn't see anything," he growled, his voice low and deadly serious. "If Mr. Sterling finds out you were in this wing, you won't last the week." Alina's chest heaved, but she forced herself to speak. "The boy, he's not blind, is he?" Andre's jaw tightened. He didn't answer, but the silence was all the confirmation she needed. Before he could say another word, the crackle of his radio broke the tension. A voice barked through the speaker. "Lockdown. We have a breach on the east perimeter. Lockdown now." Andre cursed, shoved Alina aside, and bolted from the room. Sirens blared throughout the mansion, red emergency lights bathing the hallways in a hellish glow. Alina stumbled out, heart pounding, and watched as guards ran toward the East Gardens. In the chaos, she saw Evelyn Sterling standing at the top of the grand staircase, clutching Nathan to her chest. "Richard," she screamed. "Get him out of here. Now." Richard appeared from his study, his face like stone. "Take him to the vault," he ordered one of the guards. "And keep him there until I say otherwise." Alina's head spun. The vault? For an 8-year-old boy? Why do they need to hide him during a break-in? She slipped behind one of the columns, watching as Nathan was escorted away. His small hand brushed against the banister as though he could see where he was going. When the guards cleared out, Alina took her chance. She followed the sound of Nathan's footsteps down a series of winding hallways until they reached a steel-reinforced door. She hid behind a suit of armor, watching as the guard entered a code and ushered Nathan inside. She was about to leave when a cold hand grabbed her wrist. She turned, expecting Andre, but it was Evelyn Sterling. You have no idea what you've stepped into, Evelyn whispered, her voice trembling. If you care about your life, you'll stop asking questions about my son. But before Alina could answer, a crash echoed through the halls. Someone had broken into the mansion. The alarms blared louder. A shadow moved quickly across the hallway, and a masked man appeared, grabbing Alina and pressing a knife against her throat. "Where's the boy?" he demanded, his voice muffled through the mask. Alina's scream was cut short as he yanked her toward the west wing, dragging her away from the safety of the main hall. The knife pressed cold against Alina's skin as the masked intruder shoved her into a side hallway. Her heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear the alarms anymore. "I don't know where he is," she choked out, but the man didn't believe her. He dragged her toward the servants' entrance, where a black SUV sat idling with its headlights off. Before they could reach the door, a deafening gunshot echoed through the mansion. The man cursed and shoved Alina to the ground. She covered her head as plaster rained from the ceiling. From down the hallway, Andre appeared with his weapon raised. "Let her go," Andre barked, his voice like thunder. The masked man laughed. "You think you can stop this? The whole city's about to find out what your billionaire boss is hiding." Andre fired again, hitting the doorframe inches from the man's head. The intruder fled through the kitchen door, vanishing into the storm outside. Andre helped Alina to her feet, but his face was grim. "You need to get out of this house," he said. "Tonight, before it's too late." But Alina shook her head. "What is everyone hiding about, Nathan? Why would someone risk their life to break in here?" Andre hesitated, then muttered, "It's not my place to say." Before he could explain more, Richard Sterling appeared, his shirt soaked with rain. "Andre with me. Now." His gaze landed on Alina. "You kitchen. Don't move unless I say so." But Alina didn't listen. When Richard and Andre disappeared toward the east side of the mansion, she crept back toward the vault door. She had to know what was inside. She found Evelyn Sterling in the hallway, crying silently, her mascara smeared. Alina approached carefully. "Please," Alina whispered, "tell me what's going on." Evelyn's tear-streaked face twisted with pain. "My son, Nathan was never supposed to be blind. Richard made the world believe it because..." She cut herself off, glancing toward the security cameras. "I can't talk here." She grabbed Alina's hand and pulled her into a hidden passage behind the library. The narrow corridor smelled of dust and secrets. Evelyn's voice dropped to a whisper. "When Nathan was born, there was an incident. Something happened in this house that night. Richard covered it up, lied to the press, lied to everyone. He made the world believe Nathan was blind to protect what we have. But Nathan, he's in danger because of what he knows." Before Alina could ask what that meant, the passage door flew open. Richard stood there, his eyes blazing. "What are you telling her?" His voice was calm but deadly. Evelyn stepped in front of Alina. "She has a right to know. You can't keep lying forever." Richard grabbed Alina by the arm. "You're done here," he snarled. "Pack your things. Tonight." Alina's arm throbbed where Richard had grabbed her, but she yanked it free and ran before he could stop her. She didn't know where she was going, only that staying meant danger. She sprinted through the hallways until she reached the servants' quarters, throwing her few belongings into a bag. That was when she heard it, screams. Not from the guards, not from Evelyn, Nathan. Alina froze, heart hammering. She dropped her bag and ran toward the sound. By the time she reached the grand hall, the scene before her felt like something out of a nightmare. The vault door was open. One guard lay unconscious on the floor, and Nathan was gone. Evelyn was hysterical, clawing at Richard's chest. "This is your fault. They came for him because of you." Richard shoved her back. "We had this under control until you started talking." Andre stormed into the hall, face grim. "We found tire tracks. Whoever it was, they're professionals. They knew exactly how to get past your security." Alina's stomach twisted. She wasn't supposed to care, but she did. She saw the panic in Evelyn's eyes, the way her hands shook, and she knew she couldn't walk away now. "I saw him being dragged toward the kitchen earlier," Alina said breathlessly. "I can help you find them." Richard spun toward her. "You stay out of this." "No." Evelyn snapped, stepping between them. She stays. She's the only one who actually saw the intruder's face. Richard's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Instead, he barked orders to Andre. Get the SUV. We leave now. Within minutes, they were speeding down the rain-slicked driveway. Alina pressed against the door in the back seat, her pulse racing. Evelyn sat beside her, gripping her hand so tightly it hurt. They'll kill him if we don't get to him first, Evelyn whispered. You don't understand, Nathan. Nathan remembers everything from that night. If he talks, but before she could finish, the SUV was rammed from the side. Metal screamed against metal as the vehicle spun out, crashing into a ditch. Glass shattered, and Alina felt herself being thrown sideways. When she came to, Andre was already pulling Evelyn out of the wreckage. Richard was gone. His door swung open, empty. They took him, Andre said, his voice grim. They took Richard. Alina's head spun. Whoever was behind this wasn't just after Nathan. They were dismantling the entire Sterling family piece by piece. Somewhere in the distance, tires screeched and a second vehicle sped away. Alina forced herself to her feet. Then we follow them, she said. Andre's eyes narrowed. Do you have any idea what you're walking into? Alina nodded, fear burning away into something fiercer. I think it's time I find out exactly what this family has been hiding. Andre floored the accelerator, chasing the taillights ahead through the storm. The SUV's engine roared as Alina clung to the seat, her heart slamming in her chest. Evelyn's voice shook as she said, if they get to Nathan first, everything Richard has built, our entire legacy, will come crashing down. Then talk, Alina said sharply. No more half-truths. Why lie about Nathan being blind? Why is he so important that men are willing to kill for him? Evelyn's face was ghostly pale. Nathan saw what happened the night his uncle died, she whispered. It wasn't an accident like the papers said. Richard killed his own brother that night, right here in this house. Nathan saw it. He was only 2 years old, but he never forgot. We told the world he was blind to make sure no one would believe him if he ever spoke. Alina's blood ran cold. The boy wasn't just a son, he was a witness. Ahead, the black van skidded to a stop in an abandoned shipping yard. Andre killed the lights and pulled over. Stay in the car, he ordered, but Alina was already opening the door. Inside one of the warehouses, voices echoed. Alina crept closer until she saw Nathan tied to a chair, a man standing over him with a pistol. Beside him, Richard Sterling, bruised and on his knees. You kept the truth buried for 8 years, the man growled. But tonight, everyone learns who you really are. Richard's lip curled into a bitter smile. You think you can ruin me with the word of child? Go ahead. See who they believe, the billionaire or the kid you kidnapped. But Nathan spoke before the man could reply. His small voice was steady, too steady for an 8-year-old. I remember everything. You killed Uncle Thomas because he was going to take the company away from you. You told Mommy to lie. Richard's face twisted with rage. Shut up, he roared, lunging toward his son, but the gunman held him back. Evelyn burst into the room then, Andre behind her with his weapon drawn. Enough, Evelyn screamed. I can't do this anymore, Richard. He's your son, not your pawn. Chaos erupted. Andre fired a warning shot. Richard lunged again, this time knocking the gun from the kidnapper's hand. In the scuffle, Alina grabbed Nathan and dragged him toward the door. Richard turned on Evelyn, his face flushed with fury. You betrayed me. No, Evelyn said, tears streaking her face. I'm saving what little is left of this family. Andre tackled Richard before he could reach her, pinning him to the ground until police sirens wailed outside. Hours later, Nathan sat wrapped in a blanket, safe in Evelyn's arms. Richard was led away in handcuffs, screaming that he would destroy them all. Nathan looked at Alina, his eyes clear and focused. Thank you for believing me, he said quietly. Alina nodded, finally understanding why the mansion had felt like a bomb ready to go off. Tonight it had. The end. Please like and subscribe for more rich family secrets like this. Do you think they got what they deserved? Comment below. Also, if you really love this video and want to support the channel directly, You can hit that super thanks button below. It really helps us keep bringing you more jaw-dropping family drama.